Sometimes human connections do not follow the natural and direct flow that many expect. Time seems like a vague measure when there is a meeting of souls, an invisible link that defies the passage of hours, days, or years. There is a relationship between you and this person that does not fit into common conventions or explanations, and she feels this with a depth that perhaps even you haven't understood. The feeling that you are already committed, that there is something inevitable and destined, resides in her as an unshakable truth. Deep down, she believes that you are already part of each other. It's not just about exchanged words, gestures of affection, or shared moments, but a connection that transcends the visible. For her, this commitment was not made with formal promises. There was no need for declarations or contracts. It's as if the souls met in a silent agreement, an interweaving of energies that she feels deeply. The security that fills her comes from this certainty, from this quiet place where she feels that you are already a part of who she is, of her journey. There are no doubts, no hesitations in her mind. This feeling is so deeply rooted in her that it emerges with an almost frightening naturalness. But do you feel the same? Or is it that for you, things are more uncertain, more nebulous? Maybe you are still trying to decipher what all of this means. For you, the concept of commitment may be something that needs more time, more construction, more clarity. Not because you do not care, but because your process is different. Your way of perceiving and feeling is unique, personal, and does not necessarily follow the rhythm that the other person has silently imposed on the relationship. At times, you may even wonder where her confidence comes from, that feeling that there is already an established us, while you are still navigating the nuances of your own feelings. It is a perception that can leave you confused, perhaps even a little uneasy, because although there is an undeniable connection, you are not sure if you are ready to call it a commitment. You may feel something deep, yes, but perhaps that depth still needs to be explored before it turns into certainty, before it becomes something that you can also call a commitment. What she feels is the certainty that the two of you already share something so strong that it transcends what is physical, what is said or done. She feels that your destinies are already intertwined, that the futures of both of you are already merged. For her, what you have has already passed through the phase of discoveries, has already overcome uncertainty. In her mind, this bond is already unbreakable. For you, however, emotions may be unfolding at a different pace. You may question whether you are prepared for this total commitment, to embrace what she already believes exists. There is in you a desire to understand, to analyze, to be certain before taking that step. Commitment for you may have a different weight. You may need more time, more moments, more inner answers before diving into this feeling that, for her, is already a foregone conclusion. And this difference in perceptions can bring tension, not out of lack of love or interest, but because your emotional paths seem to be in different tunings. It is as if she is already at the final destination of the emotional journey, while you are still traveling the path, observing the landscapes, feeling the wind, noticing every detail before reaching the point where she already is. This person sees a we that for her is already a living, pulsating truth. But you might still be in the process of understanding what this we means to you. There is no rush in your heart, because you know that real commitments, the ones that last, need a solid foundation, built with patience, understanding, and a profound harmony with your own feelings. She, on the other hand, is already there. She feels as if you have already traced a path together, as if the hearts have already sealed a pact that you are still contemplating. For her, this relationship is something inevitable, something that is already happening, even if the words have not yet been explicitly said. There is a naturalness in her feeling, as if the love between you already exists in another sphere, on another plane, and is just waiting for the moment to fully manifest here, in the present. And perhaps you, without realizing it, have contributed to this sensation. Maybe your gestures, your words, your energies have fed this belief in her, without you being fully aware of it. It could be that in some moments you have let slip signs that you feel the same, but in others, the weight of uncertainty has pulled you back to a position of caution. The duality of feelings is common when we are facing something so deep, so complex as love and commitment. However, there is no right or wrong in this scenario. What exists are two people with different emotional rhythms, with distinct ways of feeling and processing what is happening. What she feels as a certainty, you might see as an ongoing process. What she perceives as a commitment already made, you might see as something still taking shape, that still needs to be molded with more clarity and understanding. You are not wrong for not being in the same place as her yet. Likewise, she is not wrong for feeling this connection so intensely. The challenge here is to find a way to honor what each person feels, without pressuring or forcing a harmony that is still forming. Love, after all, is not a straight line, and it does not follow a predefined map. It is often a labyrinth of emotions, discoveries, moments of clarity, and others of uncertainty. And if she feels that you are already committed to each other, perhaps what she is really seeking is that validation, that confirmation, that what she is experiencing is not a figment of her imagination, but something that also echoes in you, albeit at a different frequency. If you feel something but have not yet reached the point of calling it a commitment, perhaps it is time to communicate that sincerely, to share with her where you are emotionally, so that this mutual perception does not turn into a discrepancy that could eventually cause pain. Transparency, even if it is about uncertainties, is a powerful form of connection. Sometimes, just knowing where the other person is on the journey can be enough to bring peace and understanding. Because in the end, what really matters is that both are moving towards the same horizon, even if at different speeds. True commitment is not one that is forced or rushed, but one that arises from a natural convergence of feelings, a mutual understanding, a shared desire to be together, not just because the other person expects it, but because both want it, at the right time, in the right way. This person lives with such a profound certainty that it becomes disarming. For her, there are no doubts, no uncertainties. The connection that exists between the two of you has already taken the form of a commitment in her mind and heart. This bond that she feels transcends words, promises, or conventions. It is something subtler, almost spiritual, as if fate has already drawn the line that unites your lives, and she simply walks along it, confident in the path she is following. You, on the other hand, seem to navigate in more cautious waters. There is something inside you that hesitates to embark fully on this journey of immediate commitment, not because you don't care or because there are not deep feelings, but perhaps because you need more clarity, more time, or even a more tangible connection before declaring something that, for her, is already a crystal clear truth. She sees something in you, in both of you, that goes beyond everyday interactions. For her, there is an invisible link that keeps you together, that surpasses what is spoken, what is planned, what is understood rationally. You may even perceive the signs of this surrender in her gaze, in her gestures, in the way she acts when she is by your side, with a tranquility that only someone who has wholly given themselves can demonstrate. But in contrast, you still feel that you need to explore more layers of this relationship before accepting this us that she has already embraced so absolutely. It's not about a deliberate resistance on your part. In fact, it's very likely that you are also connected to her in a way that, at many moments, you can't even name. There are moments of intimacy, of mutual understanding, of a harmony that, when experienced, feels so natural and fluid that it's easy to understand why she feels that you've already reached this point of commitment. Yet, something inside you remains reflecting, observing, trying to discern if the path she sees is the same one you're ready to walk. This contrast may be subtle, but it exists and creates a dynamic that over time may become more evident. She, with her quiet certainty, perhaps expects not an explicit confirmation, but rather an alignment of energies. She longs for you to also feel what she feels, that you are already connected in a way that doesn't need labels or formal declarations. But what about you? What does this commitment mean to you? Is there a desire to deepen this relationship, to explore more of what could be? Or are you still caught in internal questioning, reflecting on what you really feel? Love, in its purest form, rarely follows a straight line. It unfolds in unexpected curves, in moments of deep connection, followed by instances of doubt. The question here isn't about the absence of feeling, because clearly there is a strong bond between you, but rather about time. The time needed for both to be on the same page, for both to look at each other, and, without the need for words, know that they are in the same place, ready to move forward. There is a beauty in the way she already feels committed to you. This surrender that comes without reservations, without fear, is rare. She is willing to give herself completely, to live this experience in a way that only those who have achieved deep inner security are capable of doing. For her, the commitment already exists because she has already surrendered. It's not something she expects you to give to her, but something she has already offered of herself. And so the question arises for you. How do you process this kind of surrender? When someone gives themselves so intensely and fully, it can evoke complex feelings in the person receiving this energy. Perhaps a part of you feels flattered by this devotion, but another, more reflective part questions whether you are ready to reciprocate in kind. There is a responsibility in receiving someone's heart so openly, and you, with your own emotional journey, may be wondering if it is the right time, if you are ready for a commitment as deep as the one she already feels. You may feel pressured, even though she hasn't said it out loud. The pressure sometimes comes from the perception that someone has already advanced to an emotional stage where you haven't yet arrived, and this, in many cases, can generate internal discomfort. It's not a matter of lack of love or interest, but a matter of time. The time you need to reach that same place, if indeed you intend to reach it, and so you find yourself at an emotional crossroads. On one hand, there is this person who already sees you as an intrinsic part of her life in such a way that the commitment seems natural, almost inevitable. On the other hand, there is you, with your doubts, your reflections, your internal process of trying to understand where you really stand in relation to all this. The connection is there, but the definition of this commitment, at least on your part, still seems to be in construction. Maybe upon deeper reflection, you'll realize that a part of you also desires this commitment, but that your pace is different from hers. Perhaps you need more time to process everything this relationship involves, more moments together to understand what it truly means for you to be committed. For her, the commitment already exists because, emotionally, she has already taken that step. For you, that step might be forming, but it hasn't been fully taken yet. However, this difference in timing doesn't need to be an obstacle. What matters is how you both handle it. Sincerity, clear communication, even if it's about uncertainties, can be the key to avoiding misunderstandings and frustrations. Telling her that you also feel something deep, but are still discovering what it means to you, can be an act of courage and honesty that she might value more than you imagine. Because deep down what she wants is to be by your side, but by the side of someone who also wants to walk with her, not someone who feels pressured to do so. There is beauty in every phase of a relationship, even in the phases of uncertainty. You don't need to be in the same emotional place as her to validate what you feel. Love, connection, commitment, all of this can be built with patience, with respect for each other's rhythms. What matters is that both are willing to walk this path, even if in different ways. What must not exist is an invisible pressure forcing one side to follow a path before being ready. Maybe in the end, what you need is more time to find yourself within this relationship. And that is not a failure. It is a human need to process, to feel, to understand before diving headfirst into something so deep. This person feels that you are already committed because in their heart they already live this relationship fully. But you have the right to find your own path there, to feel the depths of this connection before committing so absolutely. The journey of a relationship is rarely made of absolute certainties from the beginning. What matters is the willingness to be present, to open up, to surrender in your own time. And, who knows, by sharing these reflections with them, you may also find a new way to connect, a new way to build this commitment together in a manner that respects who you are and what you feel,